Hey guys, Cody here with Import Image Racing. We recently just stiffened up the transmission in the vehicle by installing the Group N transmission mount. Now we're going to stiffen up the rear end a little bit, so we are installing these rear differential bushings from Torque Solution. Now this should be a pretty simple install. It's not going to take very long. We're just going to go ahead and dive right into it. So the first step here, go ahead, jack up the car. Then we're going to go underneath the rear differential. So once you're under the car at the rear differential, we have these two 17mm bolts that are going to need to come out. We're going to do one at a time. You may not be able to get the insert in without jacking up the rear diff a little bit. We're going to try without it, see how it goes, and then we may have to jack it up a little bit. But we are going to remove one of these, grab a 17mm socket, and pop one of these suckers out. Now you have two different inserts in this kit. Well, you're gonna have four, but you're gonna have two different varieties. One is gonna be this squared style one, and the other one's kind of got like this smiley face going on. We're gonna use this one. And it's going to go sort of upside down. So if you're looking at it like this, you'll flip it. You can sort of see how it needs to go in. The whole purpose here is to push this thing into place to fill the gaps left by the factory bushing. So I want to show you guys this real quick. These mounts are actually so new that they haven't worn in yet. And what I mean by that is that there's really thin rubber at the top and at the bottom. So essentially where this mount goes, it fills in these gaps that are in the stock bushing. And it stiffens it up using that by filling in those gaps with some polyurethane. And so what happens is these go through those gaps, close them up, and then the bushing, the rubber bushing doesn't have as much room to move around, and it stiffens it up. However, the car is so new that it hasn't worn in these spots, and so there's still a layer of rubber there, and if I try to push this into place, it just will not go. What I'm gonna do is take a razor blade and just poke little holes right where those wear points are. And this may sound really weird, but trust me, watch this. It should slide through now. There we go. Now we're going to take our washer and reinstall our nut. Okay, so I brought you guys a little closer to hopefully get you a better shot of what I mean. You see these little shallow sections. That is going to end up wearing out and there will be a hole there. But because we only have 100 miles on the WRX, there's not a hole there yet. So I'm taking the razor blade and just poking that hole for us. Now you're not gonna be able to really see it because I'm just putting like a little razor cut. And then up top here in that groove, the razor blade fits perfectly into that groove. You could also take a screwdriver and poke through the holes if you want to do it that way. But you can see I can literally put the razor blade all the way through that hole. So a few things to note here. I did not jack up the rear diff at all. And if you go to install this and you cannot get it in, obviously take the nut off first. But if you go to install this and you push and push and push and it won't go through, you probably haven't broken in your mounts yet and you may need to do this razor blade trick or punch them out with a screwdriver. If yours are broken in and you can visibly see that they're broken in and you cannot slide this in, and then you try the razor blade trick or a screwdriver and punch holes in it and you can still not slide this into place, you might have to lift up on the rear differential a little bit. But in this case, I don't think we're gonna have to because I got the other side in without it. So I have this insert in, it's lined up pretty good. I just can't push it in any further with my fingers, so I'm gonna install the washer and I'm gonna tighten it down, and that should push it in the rest of the way. So after you have your bushing inserts installed into the rear differential and the subframe, we can move down to the rear differential carrier and install these bushing inserts as well. Once you get back here, there's two 17mm nuts holding the differential to the carrier, and then there's two 17mm bolts with nuts on them holding the carrier to the frame. Now we can move these bolts and lower the rear diff carrier. Okay, so here is the rear differential carrier. You're gonna see this side over here is solid. We're not gonna be messing with that today. But on this side, you're gonna see that it is slotted and not solid, and that is where these bushings are gonna come in. Take our inserts and push them through. All right, flip it around and install this side. And it should look like that when you're all done. So this side is going to remain the same. This side's going to get both bushings. All right, so we're going to put this mount back up into the vehicle. It's going to be a little bit more difficult to get this side in now because we have these bushings in here, but we can make it work. It's just going to take a little bit of convincing here. So we're going to start with that. Push in on that. Okay. All right, got that side in. Now this side's gonna be just a little bit of force. I'm getting the jack. Okay. There we go. And that is install complete. All right guys, so I took the WRX out for a quick drive after the install, and it feels really great, feels really solid, really responsive. And to be honest with you, we had a little bit of extra NVH, nothing too bad. With the transmission mount and the rear diff inserts, we got just a little bit of added noise, not much at all. A little bit of music, a little bit of exhaust note, and you're not even gonna know it's there. And if you have a window cracked, you'll never know it's there. So pretty nice upgrade for the price. I think it's definitely worth it. If you guys didn't see the video of us installing the Group N transmission mount, go ahead and check that out now. But I'll leave a link for this differential insert kit in the description, so if you're interested in getting a set for yourself, you can do that. And we'll see you guys in the next video.